Papua New Guinea's police commissioner has revealed the latest reasons behind the government's decision to temporarily shut down Facebook. Stay tuned for more updates as this story develops. Papua New Guinea's police commissioner has shed light on the temporary shutdown of Facebook, explaining that it was an effort to locate two individuals suspected of attempting to incite terrorism. However, Michael Kabuni, a Papua New Guinean academic from the Australian National University, has raised concerns about government control over social media. He warns that this decision significantly impacts freedom of speech and sets a troubling precedent. Kabuni highlights that the shutdown affected around 1.4 million people, the entire Facebook user base in PNG. He describes it as an alarming move, marking the first time the government has enforced a nationwide media blackout. To hear the full discussion, we'll tune into the conversation between Michael Kabuni and the ABC host to get deeper insights into the implications of this decision.
Now, for some further analysis of the Facebook shutdown in PNG and its implications, we're joined by political academic Michael Kabuni, who's doing his PhD at the Australia National University. Michael, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No, not a problem at all. So what was your immediate reaction when you first heard Facebook had been blocked?
Well, I first figured out when I couldn't log in, and that was the same for everyone else because there was no prior notice that, the police commissioner's version of why Facebook was shut was because they have this new technology and it was a test. And so we just found out when we couldn't log in, and it took hours and hours before the police commission actually put out this statement saying it's a test of a new technology, and they are hoping that they could use this technology to combat misinformation, cyberbullying, and anything that might incite terrorism. So that's how we found out. And it was a nationwide shutdown. One of my friends was looking at the Facebook analytics. There were about 1.4 million people who were cut out of accessing Facebook. And that's about the total number of people who access Facebook in PNG.
Yeah, there's a lot of people indeed. What do you think about the various reasons given by the police minister and the police commissioner? Do you think they're consistent?
No, they're not, and it appears more like Facebook was shut down for something else, and each person is trying to provide a reason once they realize that whole thing backfired. Because as you may have not heard about it, the police commissioner's reason is that they had intelligence that there was a terrorism activity planned and that Facebook would be used to spread the information and try to bring in sympathizers to repeat the same act elsewhere, like bombing what they call critical infrastructure, which is basically any government-owned infrastructure and every public infrastructure in Papua New Guinea under the Terrorist Act. So we really don't know what this critical infrastructure was that the supposed terrorists were targeting. It ranges from anything from schools to government buildings and roads. So that was the police commissioner's reason, and that came out a day after the police minister's reason, which is that it was a testing of a new technology. So we really don't know. And the police commissioner the police minister said they worked with the police and NITA, which is this National Authority for Regulating Information, Communication and Technology in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, it'd be sorry to cut you off there, but I'd be interested to hear exactly what that new technology was. We're yet to hear from Prime Minister James Marape. He's been in New Zealand since Tuesday and hasn't taken any questions from the media while he's been there. Do you think he needs to explain what happened?
I don't really know because I think he will let the others take the fall, even if he was, is the top guy and made it happen. But yeah, he should answer the question because of the nature of the law and the nature of the shutdown and its implication on freedom of speech and expression embedded in the Constitution. But I think he will let the police commissioner and police minister do the talking.
You're listening to Pacific Beat, and if you're just tuning in, I'm chatting with political academic Michael Kabuni from the ANU about the recent Facebook shutdown in PNG. Michael, what implications does this have for freedom of speech in PNG, do you think?
It's a bit scary. It's the first time government has shut down any form of media nationwide. This has never happened before. There were threats to, attempts to take the journalists of the traditional media to court, and some have done that, tried. There were attempts around trying to regulate the print media and come up with laws. There is a policy undergoing consultation with the hope of regulating media, and there's a lot of criticism from the public against that. But this is, and one of the reasons why they couldn't control media is because they don't have the means to shut down the media immediately. So social media is a bit different. They can just work with the telecommunication companies and shut it down like how they did. And social media provides a lot of good and bad, but good in PNG. Getting information in time. There were instances where someone took a video of a robbery in progress, at least two that I can remember, a month apart. And the police used that video to follow up and arrest the criminals. And, when it's landslide, when it's a warning and all kinds of things. So it's not only freedom of expression and speech, but it's been this tool that's used to spread warning and message. So it's very concerning that the government could shut it down, especially with a prior notice. And I was just reading through the Counterterrorism Act yesterday. I couldn't find where a test could become a reason for shutting down Facebook or any form of communication or social media. And that's one of the frustrations with Papua New Guineans. And by the way, I did run a survey online yesterday. It's still running. As of last night, I had 140 people who responded. 90% of them have not yet seen the Counterterrorism Act. They don't know what constitutes a terrorist act. So this is an act that was passed in Parliament because the Prime Minister had the numbers, the government had the numbers, the opposition couldn't stop it. And now that it's become a law, most people don't know. Now it's supposed to be on a Parliament website. And yesterday I checked the Parliament website, and the Parliament website is down as of yesterday. So you have a law that was passed because the government had numbers. And it's a law that's not popular with the people. The people don't know what a law is. And it's a law that the people cannot access. So that's where you are.
Well, that kind of leads me in to my last question. What do you think happens from here? Like, given that this was a government test that shut down the platform, do you think it's likely that now that they know how this test works, obviously this technology was effective on some level, do you think it's likely that it will now be used going forward to permanently alter Facebook going forward?
Well, I really don't know. I'm not sure whether the backlash has any impact on the government position and their thinking going forward. But definitely they've demonstrated that they have the capacity to shut down Facebook anytime. And that's scary. And when you look at the reason behind it, let's say the police commissioner is correct or is right that there were terrorist threats or intel. Now, that would then mean that whenever they have something similar, a intel, even if it's not proven and even if it doesn't subsequently lead to arrests, that they will continuously shut down Facebook whenever there is a terrorist intelligence or terrorist threat. So that's the kind of implication that comes out of the exercise that they've conducted. But last thing I should say is, I was just listening to the previous guests you had on the show. There are few people who can actually do something about it at the moment. The Ombudsman Commission, for instance, it's within its right to go to the Supreme Court and ask for a interpretation of whether this law is constitutional, because it's infringing on the freedom of speech and expression. And not only that, if you read through the act, it's probably the most far-reaching act I've ever read. So the Ombudsman Commission can do that. The opposition, when they didn't stop it on the floor of Parliament, they can actually go to the Supreme Court. There's a thing called standing. For you to invoke the Supreme Court interpretation, you have to have standing before the Supreme Court. And the people who have standing are the members of Parliament, the opposition in this case, and the Ombudsman Commission. And, one of the ways this can be done is the Papua New Guineans, groups and associations and NGOs have to write to the Ombudsman Commission and remind them of their responsibility to actually seek clarification on this law through the Supreme Court. So that's an option out there.